Hi, Lori. It's nice to have you here again. So last time that we met, we did talk a little bit about what's been going on. So I just kind of want an update on how you feel things have been going, what the current situations are at home, at work, whatever that looks like, whichever you want to talk about today. So just talk to me a little bit about what's been going on and fill me in.
Well, I think today we need to talk about the home stuff because I'm really having a difficult time with how things are at home. Um, we've talked about the way my husband is controlling, and it feels like it's getting worse all the time. He continually yells at me. Um, the latest thing is I'm not a good enough housekeeper. It's getting close to the holidays, and the kids are supposed to be coming home, and that's all I hear. Oh, the house looks like a wreck. How's anybody going to come home for Christmas? And it just it's just gotten out of control lately.
Okay. Um, so I don't want to dig too much deeper into that yet. So talk to me a little about, like, not specific words, but what kind of, because I know we had previously talked about how he's, we talked about how he has a tendency not to outright say you're not good enough at this, but it's the way he words things is that's the message he's getting across. And I know in the past it's been about the relationship between you two, the relationship between you and your kids. So do you feel like all of that's going on, or just right now it's about the housekeeping?
No, it's definitely all going on. Um, but he picks out certain things that he talks about at a given time when I guess I'm feeling vulnerable, and I've been working a lot, and so the house is what it is. But all the stuff combined together is just becoming overwhelming. I feel like I can't do anything right for him. Um, I try to work at areas where I can, but I'm busy working, and you know, honestly, I work almost as much as he does,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't seem to appreciate that or understand that. So it's kind of all rolled into one big
Okay.
mess.
Yeah. Um, so talk to me a little bit about your interactions with your kids. So I know that they're not currently really living at home all that much because they're at school. So talk to me a little bit about your interactions with them, and just kind of what that looks like on a daily basis, and how what's been going on between you and your husband has impacted those interactions.
It's been interesting because I really feel like my relationships with my kids have suffered. Um, they know what he's like, but I think because I live with that every day, I feel beat down, and so I just, I either don't make an attempt to spend much time with them, or I get overly involved, which they don't like because that's too much, or I find myself becoming passive aggressive, which they don't like either.
Okay.
So relationships aren't good anywhere right now.
Okay. Um, so you mentioned some passive aggressive, and I don't want to dig too deep into that right now, just because those are your words, not mine. You know what I mean? But I want to kind of figure out what those. So we covered what the interactions between you and your kids looks like. What does the interaction between you and your husband look like after these?
It doesn't look like anything.
Okay.
Because he goes and hides somewhere else, and we don't discuss anything. So I feel cut off, and it's like I don't even get a chance to make anything right because he storms off, having said his piece, and there I am holding the rest of the mess. So then I feel like I don't have any say. I can't make anything better, and I don't know where to go with that.
So talk to me a little bit more about the emotions that kind of come with that. You said that you feel kind of stuck and you're just kind of left with the mess, but
I feel guilty because, he's putting on me that the kids won't come home for Christmas or can't come home for Christmas and be comfortable because the house is a mess. And then it's like, so I feel guilty because the kids won't come, but then I'm also ashamed because is it really as bad as he says it is? I look around and it's what we've always had. I work at it, but I'm working full time, and he doesn't help with anything. So I don't know. It all falls on me. And so I don't want to say he makes me feel bad, but he does. And then I feel bad. And I accept that what he puts on me. And so I just feel like I'm not doing anything right. I feel like I'm messing things up with my kids, and things are already shot with him. So I don't even know I don't know where to go with that.
Okay. So you talked a lot about the emotions. You talked a lot about how that's really impacting you and how that's really hurtful for you. And I want to be able to show that there is empathy here, and that I'm sure that that's incredibly difficult. I can hear it in your voice. So I want to talk a little bit about all those emotions and then the behaviors that come out of that, feeling like you're kind of cut off, and like then you're kind of forced to overcompensate, and then that tends to be a little passive aggressive, how you said. So I just want to kind of think broader but also more specific of what do you think it is that you're believing about yourself because of the circumstances?
That I'm not a good mom, that I'm not a good wife, that I can't keep a house. And that's about everything, because I know I'm good at my job, but he doesn't see that, so he doesn't validate that. But I get that from other people, but I don't get validated from anything at home.
Okay.
So it just kind of feels like very ingrained in my mind, all these things that he keeps saying, that I'm just not good enough. If I could only be better.
Okay. So we talked about the housekeeping thing, and I mean, I think housekeeping is kind of a matter of opinion, or whatever the people living in the house feel comfortable with. But I want to focus in on feeling like you're not a good enough mother and you're not a good enough wife. Let's talk about what are the things that he says that give you that kind of belief system, that what is it that he thinks that you're doing that's making you not a good enough wife and not good enough mother?
Well, I guess it's the whole thing about, that the kids can't come home for Christmas, or won't feel comfortable coming home for Christmas. That's what every mom wants, is their kids to be home for Christmas. And he keeps saying, oh, there's, the house is such a wreck, there's not going to be room for anybody. And all that, the tone that he speaks to me makes me know he doesn't think I'm a good enough wife. And so then I just take all that on, and it just plays over my head all the time. Like I don't know what else to do to make it any better. I mean, I can clean all day long, and it's still not enough for him. I can move things, I can put things away, I can get rid of things, and it still doesn't matter.
So I want to kind of start trying to correct those beliefs that you have. But I want to do it in a way that you're making those connections. So you mentioned that he says that the kids won't want to come home and that they won't be able to be here and things like that. So I just want to try and give you a little logical perspective and see if we can kind of combat that a little bit. But ultimately it's you, because I don't live in your house. So he mentioned that the kids don't want to come home because of how the house is. Have any of the kids said that to you? Have any of the kids, when you've talked to them, have they said anything about, we don't want to come home, the house is a mess?
No, they don't say that. And, when they do come, nobody says anything about the stuff. They're not here to see the house.
Mm-hmm.
They're here to visit with me and with him, and,
Do they seem comfortable in the house?
I've never noticed that they weren't.
Okay.
I mean, he makes them uncomfortable, but it's not the house. It's not the house. It's not the state of the house.
Okay. So, speaking more to the comfort thing, I mean more like physical comfort, not like, oh, there's tension or whatever between you guys.
No, I mean, so if I know they're coming and I, straighten up the family room or whatever, and that's where we are, then there's not really a mess to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have any physical discomfort sitting anywhere or being at the house.
So, is this the house that they grew up in?
Yes, it is. They've had no other house.
Okay, so do they ever, when they come home for holidays and things like that, do they ever spend the night for like a long weekend?
Sometimes they do.
Okay, so when that happens, do they stay in the bedrooms that they had when they were younger?
Well, we don't really do that too much. Seems like we all gravitate to the family room.
Okay.
You know, so if they stay over, often we'll do like a sleepover thing and we'll all be in that room. And that's not difficult for anybody.
Yeah. And is that something that they suggest, or is it like, oh, well, we can't go in our rooms?
It's just kind of something we've always done. It's, it's more about like staying up late and talking, and then it's like, we all just kind of end up sleeping there. It's,
So because of the having fun and staying up late talking because you guys missed each other and all of that catching up, does that give you any idea of them being uncomfortable and them not wanting to be there?
No, I think that shows me in those times that we're getting along well and they're enjoying their time, and we kind of do lose track of time when we're talking and laughing and whatever, and so no, it never seems uncomfortable. It just seems like they've always been there.
Okay. So I think now if we recap, and if I asked you again what it is that your husband says to you and whether or not that's something that your kids actually feel, what would you tell me?
Probably not. I think it bothers him more than it bothers anybody else. And so he's just saying that to get me upset.
Okay.
That's kind of how I feel, now that we've talked about it, because I don't see any discomfort from them. Mm-hmm. They've never said it to me. Mm-hmm. I don't think they would say that to him.
Mm-hmm. So, to me, that kind of sounds like we reworked that belief of what was kind of spoken at you by your husband. So, in that sense, I feel like it doesn't clear up the issue because it's kind of a recurring thing, but I think it gives you the tools to kind of connect the dots that maybe it's just emotionally fueled and maybe there isn't anything backing it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that kind of covers the housekeeping thing. Do you want to go into the whole not a good enough wife, not a good enough mother?
Well, because we've had this not a good enough housekeeper, now I feel like maybe I am an okay mom, because like I said, those kids have never said, Mom, this house is terrible, you're not a good mom. I've never heard that from them. Mm-hmm. And maybe as far as not being a good wife, maybe he's not a good husband.
Hey.
I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, what have I really done that's so bad? Mm-hmm. So we have this friend that we go over her house, and her house looks like my house. Mm-hmm. And nobody's upset there. She has as much stuff laying around as I do. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't even work full time. Mm-hmm. So I feel like maybe it's all him. Maybe it's not me.
Okay. So